And I think that brings me quite nicely onto uh, the title that both was massively important as the first title to really nail, in a terrible way, this pay to win and loot box based gameplay mechanics. Uh, and this was both a title that sort of invented a lot of these mechanics and pioneered them very early on, and also a title that is archetypal and very popular. And that title is FIFA, specifically the FIFA Ultimate Team game mode. And that game mode actually was first released in the 2006-2007 FIFA Champions League title, although it first had a full release in FIFA 2009. And what FIFA is, FIFA Ultimate Team, is a game mode where you build a team of players. You can have players from any team in the world. You build your dream team by buying and selling players using an in-game currency of coins. But you can also get players by paying directly for packs. And packs are basically a loot box mechanic where you buy a pack, you open a pack, and it has random players. Usually, it has a load of crap players. And every maybe 1 in 100 packs, it has a really good player. And there are some players who are incredibly, incredibly rare and the strongest players in the game. And what I would like to observe and really draw out that makes FIFA Ultimate Team different compared to what has come before is that the key difference is, unlike these Call of Duty titles, is that in FIFA Ultimate Team, it doesn't matter how much you play, assuming you're not paying, you never reach the full power level. You never unlock the most powerful team. It doesn't matter. You can pay for 1,000 hours in one season. And note, these games get sold every year and your team resets even every season. So even if you do 1,000 hours in one year's title, next year everyone moves on to the next title and your team is gone. But even if you do 1,000 hours, you will have a really good team, but you won't have the very best team. And I can show my calculations based on my own play of FIFA 21 to show that this is the case. And the reason it's the case is because they have some very, very, very rare players who are the most powerful. And ultimately, I think that it's this design, it's specifically having the fact that your power level in the game can just keep going up. There's no cap on it. It's unlimited, and it takes hours and hours and hours and hours. It takes an amount of time that is impossible for anyone with a balanced lifestyle who isn't playing FIFA full time to do. Just to clarify a few things there. Firstly, when I say it's unlimited, the sort of improvement in power of your team over time, of course, there are like a set of the very best players, and if you had all of those best players, then you would have the most powerful team, and you've reached a cap. But what makes it effectively unlimited, at least for players who aren't spending masses of money on the game, is the fact that the actual amount of time it would take to earn this best team in the game, it's impossible, essentially. Or you would have to play every single hour of every day to get there. And I'll just include my calculations now that show this. And what I've done is I've looked at a team that is used by one of the top professional players. It's a very good team. It has some expensive players, but it's actually not the very, very best team. The very best teams might end up having multiple 15 million coin players. So it would cost 3 or 4 times more than this team. And what I've also included is the number of coins I earn approximately per hour just from free to playing this game. It's about 20,000 coins per hour. And so my calculation is that this guy's top team costs over 15 million coins. It would take me almost 800 hours of gameplay to earn that many coins. And given the amount of weeks in the season so far, that would take me 27 hours per week. So basically, if you want to have a competitive FIFA Ultimate Team free to play, you're looking at taking on nearly a full-time job of playing. Given, a full-time job in my country is about 40 hours a week. Of course, that's absolutely not what EA would like you to do in FIFA Ultimate Team. They would like you to buy packs, to spend money to get better at the game. So if you spend a large amount of money, you might end up being able to afford one of these teams without spending a huge amount of time. Of course, it's interesting to ask how much real-world money it would cost to buy one of these teams. And the answer is an absolutely obscene sum. From what I can tell online, the cost of buying FIFA coins on the black market, which is against FIFA's terms of service, is about 1,000 USD for 10 million coins. So this 15 million team I'm talking about would cost 1.5 grand in black market FIFA coins. And if you use EA's approved and allowed method of paying them for packs, that would on average probably cost something like 2 to 3 to 4 times more. So potentially 3,000 to 6,000 USD. Although of course it's all up to your random luck as well, because those packs don't have a set amount of value, they have random contents. Just a final thing to note here is that, a lot of the criticism of EA and this business model has been focused on the loot box element and the fact that you are allowing children to indirectly gamble, not for money, but on what they will receive in these card packs. But actually, firstly, I think that these loot boxes are terrible and they are bad for children. But interestingly, I'm actually diagnosing that the main problem here is that the game has an unlimited cap in terms of how good your player abilities can go, and then that they allow you to pay for that for those abilities by buying packs. This model could be implemented with or without random chance. EA could just allow you to buy a set amount of coins and not have loot boxes. So it'd be great if they removed the loot boxes. That would be a step forward, I think. It's potentially going to happen because of regulation in a number of countries. But it wouldn't fully solve the problem, because if they still allow you to buy FIFA coins, there would still, you would still have this problem of either having to spend masses of money to get a top team or having to put in a huge number of hours. So, what's the root of the problem with FIFA Ultimate Team? Why do I think that it is, as I said, hell in terms of game design? Well, I diagnose two main problems here. The first problem is the pay-to-win element. It's that feeling that when you go up against another person with a powerful team, you never know whether they got that team by working to unlock it or just by paying money to have a more powerful team. And that fundamentally feels unfair because, we have this idea of fairness that in competition, people should be competing on a level playing field. And there are certain norms around what kind of advantage money is able to buy you in competition. And basically, what pay to win does is it makes you feel that other players are getting an unfair advantage and you feel pressured to spend money yourself to compete. And that ends up being bad for individual gamers. That's the first problem. But I think the problem actually runs deeper than that. Because even if you took out all of the pay-to-win elements, even if you removed the feature to buy better players from the game, I still think there would be a problem. And the second problem is that of grinding and grindiness. It's actually inherently linked to pay-to-win, in my view. But the problem with grindiness is when games introduce progression systems that encourage playing massive amount of hours to get a good enough level. And that's one of the huge problems with FIFA Ultimate Team. As I said, you can play this game for thousands of hours and still be progressing, still be feeling that you're not yet there yet. And I think that ends up making the game much less satisfactory. And it just feels incredibly repetitive. And there are certain individual divine elements within the game that explicitly encourage grindiness by allowing players to unlock rewards by playing game modes that are seen as less fun. So why would you include grindiness in your game? It's obvious why you'd include pay to win. It's to make more profit. Well, I think the grindiness is inherently linked to the pay to win. For that, and the reason for that is that the grindy elements of the game are there to feel bad, to feel worse than the fun elements of the game, to pressure you to buy more pay-to-win unlocks, to pressure you to spend the money to buy packs to not have to grind. And so pay-to-win has opened a real Pandora's box because it actually incentivizes game companies to design parts of their game to be less fun, to make you want to pay more. It's really sad. So that is why I think that we really are going backwards with some of these game designs, just for the benefit of making more money. And I'm planning to make a video on exactly how and why these pay-to-win elements work, why they're so profitable, and how they allow games companies to make more profit. And I'll probably release that next week.